Remember when the world of VR was filled with blocky graphics and simple mechanics? Yes, we're talking about the golden age of retro VR games. A time when our virtual realities were inhabited by pixelated creatures, and our adventures were guided by the beep-boop tunes of the 80s. Remember navigating the neon mazes of Pac-Man, gobbling up dots and cherries while eluding those pesky ghosts? Or how about the thrill of stepping into a virtual arcade, the plastic weight of a light gun in your hand, as you took aim at pixelated villains? Those were the days when the lines between reality and virtuality were blurred not by high-definition graphics or complex storylines, but by our own boundless imaginations. Those were the good old days, but let's not get too lost in nostalgia. There's a whole new world of VR to explore. Fast forward to today and we're dealing with a whole new beast. The graphics in modern VR games have evolved to a point that it's almost like living in a different reality. Imagine the early days of video games. We were dealing with two-dimensional pixelated characters. They were charming in their own way, but, let's be honest, they were far from realistic. Now step into the present and take a look at the graphics of modern virtual reality games. They've leaped from simple pixels to high-definition, three-dimensional characters and environments. It's like stepping into a whole new world. Games like Beat Saber and Fortnite, for instance, offer a visual feast that is miles away from the simplistic charm of a game like Pac-Man. But it's not just about the quality of the graphics, it's about the level of detail that goes into creating these virtual worlds. The textures, the lighting, the colors, every single detail contributes to the overall realism and immersion. And this is where modern VR truly shines. It's not just a game anymore, it's an experience. Consider the difference between looking at a flat, two-dimensional image of a tree in an old-school game and standing next to a towering, three-dimensional tree in a modern VR game. The latter isn't just visually impressive, it's also emotionally engaging. You can almost feel the bark under your fingers, the wind rustling the leaves. That's the power of modern VR graphics. But it's essential to remember that graphics aren't the be-all and end-all of gaming. Yes, they play a significant role in creating immersive and engaging experiences, but they're just one piece of the puzzle. The story, the gameplay, the mechanics, these elements are equally important in creating a memorable gaming experience. So, while we marvel at the stunning visuals of modern VR games, let's not forget about the charm and nostalgia of retro games. The pixelated graphics of old-school games might not be as visually impressive, but they have their own unique appeal. They remind us of simpler times, of the joy of gaming in its purest form. It's amazing to see how far we've come in terms of graphics. But graphics aren't everything, are they? What really makes a game enjoyable? It's the gameplay mechanics, right? Now let's dive into the heart of any game, the gameplay mechanics. In retro VR games, the mechanics were relatively simple. Take Pac-Man, for instance. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to guide our yellow friend through a maze, munching dots and avoiding those pesky ghosts. Simple, right? But there's a certain charm to this simplicity. It's straightforward, easy to understand, and yet offers enough challenge to keep you hooked. Fast forward to the modern VR era, and we have games like Beat Saber and Fortnite. Here, the gameplay mechanics have evolved into something far more complex and immersive. In Beat Saber, you're not just navigating a maze but slicing through blocks to the rhythm of the music. It's not just about the reflexes, but also about the rhythm, the timing, and the precision. And then there's Fortnite, where you're not just battling opponents, but also building structures and strategizing your way to victory. It's a whole new level of engagement. These modern VR mechanics offer a level of immersion that retro games simply couldn't match. They allow players to physically interact with the game world, adding a new depth to the gaming experience. But, and here's the kicker, they also demand more from the players. They require quicker reflexes, better hand-eye coordination, and a deeper understanding of the game's mechanics. This evolution in gameplay mechanics has undoubtedly enriched the gaming experience. It has given us more interactive, engaging, and challenging games. But it has also raised the bar for what is expected from players. So, what's the verdict? Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag. On one hand, the sophistication and immersion offered by modern VR mechanics are truly impressive. But on the other hand, there's something alluring about the simplicity and straightforwardness of retro games. They remind us of a time when gaming was less about the graphics and the mechanics, and more about the sheer fun of playing. So, while the gameplay mechanics have certainly improved, there's still something charming about the simplicity of retro VR games. Now let's talk about immersion and storytelling, two elements that truly make a VR game stand out. Picture this. You're in the middle of a pixelated maze. a hungry yellow circle chomping down on dots, pursued by colorful ghosts. The tension, the thrill, the simple yet captivating narrative. That's Pac-Man for you, a classic retro VR game where the storyline is as straightforward as it gets. The storytelling in retro games is often direct and unembellished. These games usually don't have complex plots or intricate narratives. They rely on the basic elements of gameplay, the challenge, and the sense of accomplishment to draw in players. But with modern VR games, the narrative becomes a key player. Games like Beat Saber and Fortnite aren't just about winning or losing. They're about exploring new worlds, interacting with characters, and becoming a part of a story. The storytelling is immersive, detailed, and often reflects the world around us. It's like stepping into a movie, except you're not just a spectator, you're the protagonist. And that's where immersion comes into play. Immersion in retro games was limited by the technology of the time. But with advancements in VR tech, modern games can create truly immersive experiences that are almost indistinguishable from reality. You can feel the beat as you slice through musical notes in Beat Saber, or sense the adrenaline pumping as you build, fight, and survive in Fortnite. This level of immersion is not just about graphics or gameplay mechanics. It's about the seamless integration of storytelling, where every action you take, every choice you make, shapes the narrative. It's an experience that retro VR games, with their simpler gameplay and straightforward narratives, can't quite replicate. But that's not to say that one is better than the other. Retro VR games have a charm of their own. They bring back memories of simpler times, of the joy and excitement of gaming in its early days. Modern VR games, on the other hand, offer a glimpse into the future of gaming, a future filled with endless possibilities. So whether you're a fan of the immersive storytelling in modern VR games or the straightforward narratives of retro VR games, there's something for everyone. But enough about what we think. We want to hear from you. It's your turn to jump into the game and share your thoughts. Are you Team Retro, relishing in the nostalgia of pixelated Pac-Man? Or are you Team Modern, slicing and dicing in the futuristic world of Beat Saber? Maybe you're somewhere in the middle, appreciating the classics but also embracing the new. Let's make this a conversation. Drop a comment below and tell us where you stand. Are you all in for the charm of retro VR games, or are you excited about the endless possibilities of modern VR technology? And while you're at it, if you found this video intriguing, hit that like button and share it with your fellow gamers. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more gaming content. So, whether you're a fan of the nostalgia of retro VR games or the innovation of modern VR games, we want to hear from you. And remember, your comment could be the topic of our next video.